Without a doubt, beer is the most popular alcoholic beverage in our country. Last year we consumed nearly 178 million barrels of beer, 10 times the amount of wine we drank. That's big business. But many people believe that the battle for America's beer money has led the big breweries to produce products that are virtually indistinguishable from one another. Too bad for beer lovers. But luckily, home brewing became legal again in 1979, and all across the country, many people are brewing varieties of beers that had been all but lost. From pilsners to porters, the home brewers of America are bringing good taste back to beer.
The Americans have been convinced by the big brewers that lighter is better and that beers with relatively little or no taste are what we should be buying.
Most beer that's produced here doesn't have a very full body. I won't name any companies, but most of them are not satisfying to me.
No, I mean, brewers brew for what they feel the market will bear.
Home brewing is the ability to reproduce the variety of beer that this country used to have.
Anything that I like is real expensive. Like, you know, you're looking at about $2 a bottle or $2 a can. Well, I can make this for a lot cheaper and it's just as good, much better deal.
People find out about home brewing through tasting somebody's home brew or wondering if they couldn't make beer that's better than what they can buy in the liquor store more cheaply. I'm Mary Beth Hoyme. I'm the manager of the Boulder Wine and Hop Shop, and I sell wine and beer making supplies.
Like just a basic kit.
The cheap kits are this kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah, that's basic.
The box beer is, the equipment kit is $7.99, the ingredients are $7.99, and you can make 5 gallons of beer, which is 2 cases, for about $16.
I'm Grosvenor Merle-Smith. I live in Boulder, Colorado. This is my house. It's an old railroad car. I restore railroad cars, and this is where I brew my beer. I just happen to have some beer ready for you boys, and you might tell me if you have a preference for light or dark. I've got a little light chilled here, and maybe we should start with that. This is Roscoe's B-grade stout. That was, he used a bee inspector for Vermont. And it's an A-grade beer, but since he was into the bees, and we put a little bee propolis in there. Usually by the time that you finish a beer, if not in actual brewing, by the time that you bottle it, it has a name.
Well, I started home brewing about 10 years ago in college, and when I came to Boulder in '72, I decided to teach a class in home brewing through the community free school here in Boulder. It seems that before Prohibition, there were many thousands of breweries in this country, and they were all forced to close. After Prohibition, only the big breweries survived by producing malt extract for the confectionery industry. So when they began brewing again, they began marketing a product that would appeal not only to the man, but to the woman. So consequently, the beer that was brewed, and is still being brewed, is a lot lighter than perhaps the traditional brew that was brewed 50, 60 years ago. I have some batch of home brew going right here right now. This is a very light ale. Started this about a half hour ago. It'll take about 20 more minutes of boiling, and be pretty much done with the process of brewing up a batch of beer. We have some brew over here that we brewed up Tuesday evening. It's, what is it? It's Thursday evening right now. We put the yeast in, mix things up, and what you're seeing right there is what we call the primary fermentation. I have a floating thermometer in there, keeping the temperature generally below 75 degrees. And this instrument here is a hydrometer. And what this measures is the sugar content. It's a simple device that floats in the beer, and as the sugar is consumed by the yeast, this floats lower and lower. The yeast acts on the sugars, converting it to alcohol and CO2 gas. Well, that'll take a little while to settle, but the best beer in the world takes time.
My name's Tim Mead. I've been brewing for about 4 years. I was home brewer of the year the very first year we had competition. Mainly the interest that I have in it stems from my profession. I'm a pharmacist, and I like to make things. We are going to be making a Buffalo Series type brew. This is one of our favorites, and it's kind of a simple one. It's just going to have a few grains in it, a lot of malt, and some added ingredients, some clearing agents, a little bit of calcium, some Irish moss, things like that. The whole process of making beer is very, very simple. Anybody that wants to make beer can. It's just a matter of following the steps, doing it a little bit careful, and having a good time with it. That's the number one importance. Even if you make a mistake, no big deal. Just continue on. You might end up with a very good brew.
Some home brewers are now opening their own microbreweries. We visited the Boulder Brewery, where their 2 employees only produce a few thousand barrels a year, but they do it with a lot of enthusiasm.
Here is what's special about the Boulder Brewing Company, because the beer is brewed based on old British formulas. We brew an ale and a porter and a stout. I first started making homebrew in 1974, and that, in my opinion, there is a future in this if you're going to work hard and enjoy this kind of work. At night you dream about slot machines.
We can't produce enough beer to satisfy everyone. It seems to move very well. Financially, it seems like we're breaking even, which is a very good place to start with a company. I am assistant brewer and do a lot of other things as well. We have our own goat milk and fresh farm eggs, and it's a nice environment to have a brewery in.
Can't beat it.
My name is Whitey Jensen. I live on Sugarloaf Mountain, Boulder, and this is the 7th annual beer stir, sponsored mainly by American Homebrew Association. Annual fair, a good one. Look forward to by months and months. I'll be thinking of the next year tomorrow. Gonna be serenaded by a couple of bands. We're gonna feast on all that fine food. And we're going to drink all this good beer. That's what's going to happen.
Something for us.
Taste it right there.
Oh, boy. This is the best beer here today. It really is.
We've tasted it. Give me another taste.
All right.
It's the ball jar that makes it so exquisite.
This is the best beer I've ever had in my life. Oh, come on.
About 2 weeks earlier.
Say, hey, Mr. Bartender, please don't be so slow. I've got time for one more round and a 6-pack to go. Tomorrow morning, Sunday, yes, I'm gonna be feeling low. So please, please, bartender, I want a 6-pack.